Welcome back to another patriotic edition of the Phantom Fuel Podcast, the official podcast of the Nebraska Air National Guard. I'm your host, RJ. Once again, as we celebrate the birth of our great nation, we're reminded of the freedoms we protect and the communities we serve. Whether you're turning in while you're prepping the grill, traveling for the holiday, or on duty supporting the mission, thank you for letting us be a part of your 4th of July week. If you're listening to this on release day, have a fun, safe, and meaningful Independence Day. And if you're tuning in after the fireworks have faded, we hope you had a fantastic celebration and took a moment to reflect on why we mark this important day in American history. Now let's get to it. Episode 7 is a special edition packed with service, strategy, and star-spangled pride. In the spirit of community and connection, we bring you 2 impactful interviews that show the many ways service extends beyond our state and even into the digital world. First, I sit down with Unknowntehk, a moderator from REGIMENT, the largest military gaming community in the country. We talk about how gaming helps veterans and service members connect, cope, and thrive. Then Major Boyd brings us a second feature interview with Captain Truscott, Nebraska's Bilateral Affairs Officer in Rwanda. It's a global look at how our state partnership program is making an impact abroad. Stay tuned as we highlight recent accomplishments from the Nebraska National Guard, look ahead to upcoming family-focused events, and wrap up with an important summer safety tips to help you enjoy the season smartly and safely. Let's get started with my sit down with Unknowntehk, the Discord moderator for REGIMENT.
The views expressed by our guests and hosts are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Air Force, Air National Guard, Nebraska Air National Guard, Nebraska National Guard, or any government agency.
Welcome to the Phantom Fuel Podcast. We're shining a spotlight on one of the most powerful military-focused gaming communities out there. REGIMENT, their mission is clear: to bring together service members and veterans through the power of gaming, support, and community. Joining us is someone who knows this community inside and out, a U.S. Army veteran, longtime regiment member, and now a moderator helping to shape the future of the incredible organization. We will reference him by his screen name as he is in the Discord community as Unknowntehk. Welcome to the Phantom Fuel Podcast.
Appreciate it. I'm glad to be here.
It's going to be awesome because, full disclosure, I have been part of the community since 2022. I met Regiment while we were at TwitchCon in 2022, and it was great to sit there and have a drink. They recognized I have a military cap on, and then all of a sudden it was like, "Hey, who are you? Are you military?" I'm like, "Yeah." So it's like, "Fill me in. What's going on?" So they got me verified right there on the spot, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But I want to get to know you a little bit, and then we'll talk about Regiment and how it can benefit the military members that listen to the podcast, and how to get verified and all that kind of stuff. But first, I want to get to know you a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about your military background and your role as an aircraft electrician?
Yeah, so I was a 15 Fox in the Army. I was an aircraft electrician. I worked on Blackhawks and Chinooks. Did all the electrical and even cross-trained into the avionics section of it. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a big puzzle every time that the helicopter needed repair. Did it for about 4 years and then got out with an honorable discharge.
What made you join the military in the first place?
Out of necessity. I was actually homeless at the time.
Oh. See, there's nothing wrong with that because I know a lot of people that make that choice for sure. How did you, with being in the military and getting involved with the history that you've done through Minecraft Game Lead and all that kind of stuff, how did you find Regiment and why did you decide to stick around?
I actually found Regiment through a TikTok video of all things. I was just sitting there scrolling through TikTok. I saw a video that Regiment put up, and I was like, okay, you know what? That sounds like pretty interesting. I'm gonna give it a check out.
Is that
joined them?
Was that something like it was like just talking about Regiment, or was it just something that piqued your interest of what they were doing at the time?
It was just talking about Regiment, and it's just like it was just a video, just like, hey, join Regiment. You know, the largest community fastest growing community for online gamers and vets. And I was like, okay, you know what? This sounds interesting. I've been looking for some other people to play with, just somebody to hang out and talk to. And when I did that, I was just like, this is actually pretty cool. I enjoyed this.
Is that
So I stayed there.
yeah, was that something that when you joined, like, was it something that you just did it for just to like play games with, and then it's suddenly how it turned into something about being a moderator? How did that journey turn about?
So when I joined in, they did have a section in there for Minecraft. And me personally, I've always been interested in creating Minecraft servers. I've created a server before. So I created a small server just for people to join up. I did mod pack. I think at the time it was like all the mods 8 or 7 or something like that.
Oh.
This is multiple years ago. We're on all the mods 10 now. But I created a server for people to join in, just to play, just to have fun, stuff like that. And they said, hey, how would you like to be a game lead for Minecraft? I was like, okay, what does that entail? It's like, well, as a game lead, you'll be responsible for being the subject matter expert for Minecraft, setting up community game nights, and making sure that people stay involved within the Minecraft channel on Regiment.
Oh.
That's like, sure, no problem.
So when you became the game lead and you were doing that for a while, how did that become being a moderator for the entire Discord?
Well, that one was actually pretty interesting. After a period of time of me being a game lead, they posted applications for moderators for the Discord itself. So I applied, did the interview, and got the position. They knew how I worked. They knew how efficient I was. They knew my working habits. So they were like, okay, that's not a hard choice to say that yes, you are a game lead now, or I mean a moderator now.
So with like that many people, because I mean I know that at some point I think the Discord community had like 30,000 people or something. It was like ridiculous of how many people, and they're like going from running the Minecraft servers to building the community there and going, okay, well, Minecraft community has X amount of people in it, and then you're like, okay, now I want to be a moderator for a community that's like 30 times the size, or how's that going? Like, was that kind of something that you were ready for? Or is that something that you kind of like was overwhelmed with?
It was a interesting transition. The Discord itself now has over 78,000 members.
Wow, that's 78,000.
Yes, we have grown a lot. When I first joined, we were Regiment was around 23,000 members or so in the years I've been here, and really going from being a game lead then going to a moderator, it wasn't that much of a difference. It was just now I have to watch every single channel, not just the Minecraft channel, but every single channel, and just make sure that people are, obeying the rules and
And then
helping members navigate through the Discord and answering their questions and make sure everything's taken care of.
and with all the like the history behind the military and Discord, I was always trying to tell people, and I've been in the military almost 27 years, and trying to tell people that Discord isn't always a bad thing, because people like related to like stuff in the news and things like that, but it's a community full of great military members and support each other and things like that. So like when you took over that and now you're at 78,000 people, when you talk to people that have never heard about Regiment, how would you describe it? How would you like introduce it to those people that don't know what that is?
Actually, I just got done talking to a person who created StickVet, who does the webcomics, and I told him, I said, hey, listen, I'd like to promote Regiment. Regiment is a community of gamers and veterans. Our mission goal is to bring camaraderie through gaming to help the service members out. We have people that are dedicated just to the VA system to help them navigate the VA system and its many twists and turns.
Oh yeah, that's a feat in itself for sure.
Oh yeah, I've actually been using our help for our VA help in the server for my own to try to get through my own claims process. So it's something that could definitely be used.
Yeah, and we have a future podcast, and I'm not sure when this one is going to be aired, but we have a future podcast with a VA person to help with that process as well. So that'll be a good one to help and link to what you're talking about as well, because I mean it's a process in itself. Even if it's just like I just want simple help versus I'm trying to get through like the benefits program or get disability and all that kind of stuff. It's not a simple process. So having those community members that helps with that is detrimental for sure.
Right, exactly.
Is it like when you start talking about to those folks that you're like, oh, I want to promote Regiment, we have 78,000 people, this is what we do, this is how we do it, do they like want to join? Do they want to see it? Do they take your word for it? How does that like process go through?
It all varies based on person to person. Sometimes I'll pull out my phone to show them the Discord, kind of give them like a brief layout of how everything works. Sometimes I don't have the opportunity to really show them. It's just kind of talking to them in the passing. But generally, a lot of people that I've talked to about it, they have been very open, receptive to it. They're like, okay, I'll definitely give that a check out. I'll definitely see what's going on.
Oh yeah, and since I've been a part of it, I'm an active member, but not really like talkative. I get a lot from the people that are giving the information. And I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. Let's go check that out. And like, if I get ideas from other people and I hear other people talking about it, at least I have a little bit more education, I guess, through the process. So that's always a benefit, even if you're not using the benefits itself or understanding the conversation that's going on. At least you're getting the education so you can help others, even if they're not part of the regiment, which is fantastic. And that's what I love about. That's why I set up the interview, because I was like, this is a great community, and I think more people should know more about it and get your word out. Can you take me through some of like the partnerships and sponsors that help to support the mission? Because I know that they do a lot for the veterans, and I know they do a lot of projects involved around the world, not just within the server, but within gaming, within deployers, PTSD, all that kind of stuff. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
We're sponsored by 3 big companies actually right now. Our longest running sponsor is actually BR Paradox. They make custom or gaming PCs for high end, medium end, low end, or extremely high end. They've been probably our longest consecutive sponsor that we've had. And then after that, we got G Fuel, Gamer Fuel.
Yeah,
which I know a lot of people have used, have tasted, or tried, or even seen.
Yeah, exactly.
So we also got them.
They're everywhere. Yeah, for sure.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And then our latest one is actually one that was actually pretty cool. It's called We the People Holsters.
Oh yeah.
They're actually now the people who do our clothesline. So our jerseys, our shirts, hoodies, challenge coins, stuff like that.
Yeah.
All of them, we have a referral code, code regiment, to get a discount on all of our stuff from all of our sponsors.
Yeah, and that helps not just with merchandise, but the other stuff that on their site that's probably sells as well. So that's a great one to have as well.
Exactly.
Now that you have all these partnerships and these sponsors that are within Regiment that kind of help them do everything for veterans and give them benefits and obviously discounts and things like that, like what are like kind of the events that Regiment like kind of holds to promote them and promote Regiment itself and kind of help the veterans out?
Well, for that, we do have like different events like game nights. For example, on April 12th, we have the Marvel's game night, and that's going to be powered by by Paradox Customs. They're going to be the ones that say, hey, we're going to basically use Paradox Customs to say, hey, yeah, they're the ones that are sponsoring this game night. So come on out, join us for a game night of Marvel Rivals. This is where we're going to play some Conquest, do match competitive, and, just come on out, have fun, hang out with us. Then we also have in real life events too. Like also on April 12th, the Relevant Warrior Silkies hike in Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Yep.
Get some people to join in there and go for a hike to help, raise awareness for soldier suicides.
This isn't just and you guys are based out of like the main home bases in Texas, and this is a good point that it isn't just based out of Texas and saying, oh, all the events are in Texas, if you want to join, you do that. Just because of that event that's in April, in Jacksonville, there's events like nationwide that you guys have that people can attend and things like that too. So that's what's really a good one. How do you how do you relate and how do you bring Regiment to like the Air Force bases? Because I know that there's been a few that you visit hospitals and you've given out like gaming systems to veterans and things like that. Like, how does that get involved for the Veterans Association?
So for like the PC giveaways, a lot of times it's going to be, we're going to ask Paradox to help us build a PC. Then we'll go out and say, hey, we're giving away PC, enter here to win a PC, but you have to be a verified service member in order to win.
Yep.
One of the first events, IRL events I did with Regiment was actually a person in South Carolina, where I live at, won a PC. And we had Entourage, Beats, and a couple others go with us to present the PC to the winner. Then after that, we all went to the gun range to go have some fun.
Oh yeah, of course. And to me, like what they don't realize, and this is this reason why we brought you on, is that like it isn't just like a server where you talk about different issues, different things, just with the VA, but you bring people together through gaming, and they've shown, and like you've said earlier, that through gaming they've seen that's actually helped with camaraderie and bringing people together and helping people getting over their issues or traumas or anything like that they've gone through with the other veterans that are with them as well. So I think that's a fantastic world to be a part of. Now that we've talked about like sponsors and what you've done and stuff like that, we try to give the Nebraska Air National Guard a purpose of, okay, so we're talking about this. Now why do we want to talk about this and give them the opportunity? And now that you've heard all that, how do we bring those folks into Regiment if we want them to join Regiment? What is the process like and how do they get verified? And then what does that mean for them while they're there?
Well, very simple. They have Discord. All they have to do is go to discord.gg/regiment, and they'll actually pull up the regiment page itself. Now, getting verified is something that is completely optional, but I will say it is needed, or you should definitely do that because then you're verified military. You got your stuff verified, and you're also entered in for all of our giveaways.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to get verified, it's very, very easy. There's multiple different ways how you can do it. We have a channel actually in the Discord right underneath the welcome and rules called application. But just to give you a couple of ideas, all you need is just a retiree ID or a screenshot of a verified ID.me account, and then also have like a second ID and just cover up your your address and your personal information.
Yep.
Or you can have a Veterans Affairs ID or a driver's license or state ID with veteran or military status displayed on it, or your DD-214. Just once again cover up all your information.
Yep, exactly.
And then if you're actually still in the military, you can use your military email address in order to verify. And all you do is just send a message to one of the accounts in Regiment called Regiment Support, and they will verify your information, then give you the role, and you'll have access to everything. You'll have access to military-only chats. If you were in the Army, you would have access to the Army Strong chat.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because, like, for those that, and we'll talk about this here in just a second too, but for those that are unfamiliar with Discord and getting involved with Discord for the first time, when you enroll, you have your onboarding situation where it's like, okay, I'm Air Force. What other areas are you interested in? And even if, like, and this is just example of Discord, if there's like a 100 different channels that you can be a part of, you can select the ones you'd be a part of and you can follow the ones there. You don't have to try to balance all 100. You can pick the ones and pick to choose ones you follow, one of the ones you want to be part of. Hey, I want to be a part of the Air Force, the Army, the Marines, Navy, Coast Guard, whatever you guys are a part of. You can actually seclude yourself into those groups, which is really, really good. I have that history, which is really awesome.
Yep.
So for like, and we're just, like I said, for those that have never been a part of a community like this or even been into Discord and maybe might be a little bit nervous jumping in, what kind of advice would you give to that individual?
Don't be nervous. Jump on in,
Exactly.
come in, say hi. Everybody in there, I should say everybody, but a majority of the people in there are either active duty or veterans themselves. Just think of it as being back out at the smoke pit.
Yeah.
At your duty station, just sitting down, talking, and just having some fun. You know?
Yeah. I do.
That's really thing.
Yeah. I remember. I was just gonna say. I remember when being deployed. I've been deployed 3 different times, and I think I've met the most people. Not just because I walked through the DFAC and got food or a dining facility or whatever. I actually went out to, like you said, the smoke pits where people actually go out there, and you end up talking to more people like that. So that's a great example. I didn't even think about that. So you just said.
Oh yeah.
Is it just for military verified, or can families join as well?
Family members can join. We do have an option to have dependents in there. Once the main person gets in and gets verified, all they have to do is just send a message to regiment support, and then they can say, "Hey, I want to put this person as a dependent for me," and they'll get a dependent role. So they'll have the RG name and the dependent role. Their name will turn purple with a symbol at the end of it to signify that they are a dependent.
That's really cool. And what they need to also realize is that the resources from the VA and getting questions answered and stuff like that are not just for the military member. It could be for the dependent. It could be for the spouse. It could be for the members' families that want to do the research as well. Because I mean, I know that there was never a place or a home for when I deployed for like families to go to actually have people that understand what they're going through, and to have that community to say, oh, so-and-so is deployed. I don't really have a chance to talk to them very much because they might be in a secluded area or maybe not have Wi-Fi or phone calls very often anymore. But I really want to have this community to support this person because they've never been through this before. That's a great place to be as well.
Right. And then also one thing too, I do want to make sure that people are aware of.
Sure.
You do not have to be verified in order to get the help from the VA, our VA help staff.
Right.
There are people in there who haven't been verified who, because they don't want to give out that information, like show their real name or anything like that, that don't get verified, but we don't treat them any differently. We will help them out, make sure that they get the help that they need from the VA system or even just in general in the community.
No, I agree. Is there any like VA stories or anything like examples that you can give of how the VA has helped individuals within the community?
There are too many to count, actually.
Yeah, I figured that.
Just like going through the VA help channel on the Discord itself. Our VA staff lead, Jonesy, he's phenomenal. He'll help you out. He'll sit there, walk you through the steps, say, okay, we have a member who is actually getting medboarded out and he submitted a claim through the VA. He's like, hold on now. That's actually not what you have to do. You have a PEBO that is going to make sure everything is done right. So that way, by the time you get out, you already have your disability rating from the VA itself.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about submitting any information.
So so what you're saying is like, even if you don't want to share your information, you can still be a part of the community, so it can benefit from a great community for the members that there is.
That's correct.
Yeah, I like that idea because, I mean, obviously you get benefits and you get a little bit of more roles for being verified, but like I said, for those that want to join for a little while to see what they think about the community, see what Regiment can do and all that kind of stuff, and you're like, okay, I want to see what I can do before I want to share out that information. You can be a part of it for a while, and then if you want to be verified later on, you still can.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
If I remember correctly, and I was lucky enough, I didn't have to go through the application process because I just happened to be in person and they just verified me right there. I just showed them my ID in person and it was great. So it helped a lot. I was like, oh, that was quick. Great. All right. Sounds great. But if you're lucky enough, and I know you guys are always at TwitchCon, that's where the big communities are and stuff like that. So if you haven't joined, or if you joined and you haven't been verified yet, that is one way. If they have a verifier there or with the group, that's a great way to be. And if I remember correctly as well, there was a plethora of members of Regiment that are part of the Twitch community, part of the streaming community, Kick, wherever you want to go. They're going to be at TwitchCon. So hook up with one of those and they'll help you out as well. Do you personally, now that you're out of the military and you're doing all this great stuff with Regiment, do you get out and join them as well at TwitchCon and ever?
But they had a gaming convention down in Atlanta, Georgia. A bunch of Regiment members were there. They even had a booth set up. I went there. I joined them joined them in person. That was a lot of fun, actually, meeting up a lot of the other members.
Yeah. And before because I mean, we're trying to fill a good half hour, and we did a great job with putting information out there for Regiment, what you do and all that kind of stuff. We talked about real life events. We talked about how to get verified. We talked about some examples of what the VA has helped. There was something that is coming up here, and this is really cool. And if you can speak to it a little bit, Regiment's coming up with their 5-year anniversary. Is there a plan for that? What are you guys doing for that? Is there anything going on for your 5-year anniversary?
Yes, there is actually. Our 5-year anniversary, we're going to hold it on May 23rd. And we're actually going to hold it at our headquarters in Texas, Flower Mound, Texas. So we're going to have a bash there. And I think also right before that, there's a bit going on. I want to say it's like a TwitchCon or something like that. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. But they'll be at the TwitchCon, and afterwards we'll transition over to our headquarters in Flower Mound, Texas. And then we'll have some fun. Arcade games, some food, drinks, just sit there and have fun. Meet other members, game, relax, chill.
I think that's a fantastic plan. When does Regiment have their own Twitch or Kick channel?
They do actually. We actually are more partnered with Kick, so we stopped going through Twitch, but it is kick.com/regiment.
Okay, and then do you guys plan on streaming your 5-year anniversary?
That I don't know.
Okay, because I was trying to say, like, for those that want to, like, can't attend but still want to be a part of it and still want to be around, that might be a great idea for them to still be able to be there or attend if they can't be there. Because I know I'm from Nebraska, and for those that are catching this a little bit later or maybe has missed, if this airs past after the 5-year anniversary, you can probably go back, because I know like Kick and Twitch, they have the VODs. You can go back and enjoy that 5-year anniversary if for some reason this airs after that anniversary has come about. So with the Nebraska Air National Guard and the Air National Guard units here in Nebraska, I know that there's separate areas for like Offutt. There's different bases in San Antonio and all that kind of stuff, and they have their own sections. Are you a part of any of those sections, or do you just maintain the moderator part of all those sections?
I mean, the moderator part for all the sections. So I see everything. Like, for example, I can see the Eastern chats, the Western chats, Northern, all that. My job is mainly just to keep an eye out on the Discord itself.
You're kind of like the oversight of the entire community kind of thing.
The first line, yes, sir.
Yeah. No, I get that. No, I totally understand that. And then before we take off and whatever, with giving all the information out for Regiment and letting them know what's going on and being able to see what the Nebraska can join and be a part of. Is there anything else that we would like to send out to anybody else that might be listening that might be not outside of Nebraska? Like, is there any messages or last message that you would like to feed out to everybody for Regiment?
It doesn't matter who you are, how long you served, what you do now, what you have done. We are here for everybody. If you need somebody to talk to, hit us up. Hit anybody up in Regiment. It doesn't matter. There's going to be somebody online. Don't sit there and think that you're by yourself.
Right.
Regiment as a whole is here for everybody. We want everybody to know that we're not going to abandon any member or any service member or anybody whatsoever.
Yeah, and I grabbed this slogan from the website. It's really great. It's like, you're not alone. We have your six, and I love that thought of it, because no matter who you are, like you said, or what you're doing, you'll never be left behind. And that's the point of this community, to bring everybody together and make sure that, you always have someone to go to no matter what, even if you're alone, even if you have somebody next to you that you're just afraid to say this particular happening with, you're amongst the military members that understand what's going on. Obviously, we don't talk about like, certain like things that are, covered by secrecy or top secret or stuff like that, but they're there to help you with the information out there for not just the VA, but for, assistance. Maybe have a friend, have a gaming session or anything like that for Regiment. That's how I kind of like it. That's how I sell it. So I don't know if that's something that you would agree with or not, but
no, I do agree with that. I mean, Regiment is a huge family.
78,000 is a huge family. Yeah.
Family needs to stay together. Yes, there are going to be some occasional fights within the family, but we're all here for each other at the end of the day.
Yep. And then one last question I have is, like, what sets Regiment apart from other gaming communities or veteran support groups that are out there?
It's the simple fact that a lot of other veteran groups out there, a lot of people get in, say that they're veterans, and not really veterans. With Regiment, though, we actually have a verification process to make sure that people who are saying that they're veterans are actually veterans. We are actually trying to make sure that we get back to the veterans first before the non-veterans. And we are actually opening up a foundation, Regiment Foundation, here shortly, which is going to be a nonprofit organization to help veterans get gaming consoles, games, peripherals, and stuff that they need in order to game with other veterans or just to game in general.
That is awesome.
To help them out.
I was just gonna say, like, what does the future hold for Regiment? But if a nonprofit organization and that is what's on the works, and there's a lot of things that are always in the works, I should say, that you have planned, and when it kind of comes available, you'll let us all know. That's pretty much how I see it too. So.
Yep. Now, even there's still some stuff that are in the plans that I don't know about just yet. But
yeah, there's always something in the works, and that's what I love about Regiment, and that's why I wanted to bring you on the podcast, so then everybody here can benefit and understand and hear how it can benefit for them as well. So Unknowntehk, I truly, truly appreciate it, taking your time out for just coming out here. I know it's only a few extra minutes of your day, but you could have said no, and you could have said, I don't have time to do this because I'm managing 78,000 people. So, and you came out anyway, and I truly, truly appreciate it. We've been reaching out to you for the last couple months, and we finally found time to do it, and I truly, truly appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And I definitely appreciate being out or being on the podcast with you.
All right. Thank you so much. Before we transition to our next interview, we got some exciting breaking news to share about Regiment. On June 14, 2025, Regiment officially became a nonprofit organization. While their mission remains the same, connecting and supporting veterans and service members through gaming, this new status unlocks even greater potential. As a nonprofit, Regiment can now accept donations, sponsorships, and subscriptions, expanding their reach and helping even more veterans in need. And they're already putting that support to work. To celebrate this new chapter, Regiment helped open a brand new $40,000 gaming center at the VFW Post 2205 in Denton, Texas. A state-of-the-art space now available to the Texas National Guard for resiliency programs and training sessions. This evolution marks an incredible milestone in Regiment's journey over the past 5 years and counting. And we couldn't be prouder to see where they're heading next. From one mission-driven community to another, congratulations, Regiment. Just like the threads of our flag, connecting and support holds us together. Thanks to Regiment and Unknowntehk for keeping those bonds strong across the miles and time zones. Now let's switch gears to another powerful story of partnership, this one overseas. In this special second interview of the podcast, Major Boyd interviews Captain Truscott, Nebraska's Bilateral Affairs Officer for Rwanda.
Well, hello, Nebraska Air National Guard and all our wider military community. This is Major Trevor Boyd. I'm the Director of Manpower Personnel and Services, and today we have a special guest, Captain Brittany Truscott. She did not come to us by way of Omaha. She came to us by way of Rwanda. So Brittany's been there for a few months now, so we'll talk a little bit about that today and just hear about her experiences as the Bilateral Affairs Officer in the country of Rwanda. So, Brittany, you've been there for a few months now. How long has it been?
Hi, Major Boyd. So been there since January and absolutely loving it thus far.
What's life like in Rwanda?
So life's pretty amazing, actually. A lot of the questions that I'll get is, "Oh, how hot is it? What do you see there?" And honestly, the climate is amazing. It's about 72 to about 85 at the absolute highest. Year round, there's not a lot of change as far as we're right by the equator. So sun comes up at 6 in the morning, goes down every night at 6. And then the work-life balance is absolutely amazing. We've got amazing people that come and help us with our children every day. So just life's really actually pretty amazing.
So life didn't speed up. Did it slow down when you got to Rwanda?
Life slowed down so much. I don't have drill weekends. Also, you get off every Rwandan holiday and American holiday. And then Rwanda has this amazing thing with surprise holidays. So if I was not here this weekend, I would have had a 4-day weekend because the first was Memorial Day in Rwanda. And then President Paul Kagame had sent out a message to the country of, hey, enjoy a long weekend. You can have Friday off as well. And so it's just a very different environment. If you're going to go out to lunch, it's going to probably be at least 2 hours. There's not a lot of haste with anything. The embassy hours are from 8 to 5 on Monday through Thursday, and then 8 to 1 on Friday. So you're able to head out for the weekend early if you want to go out to Akagera and see the Big Five on safari, or go camping or something like that. As far as like home life, my husband works at the embassy with me. And so we actually hired a nanny/cook that does our grocery shopping and all of our cooking, and then helping out with the children. I have 4 children, by the way. And then we have a housekeeper, Miss Joy, and a gardener, Shadrach. And then we also have a French tutor that comes 3 times a week to help my older 2 children with French, because they did not speak French, but they need it for school. Not because they speak
French at school, but that's their foreign language there. They actually speak English at school. But then we also have an occupational therapist that comes to our house on Mondays and Fridays. I've met Miss Beth, who is a masseuse that'll come to our house. So it's a lot more like, instead of all of that travel to go to 15 different places because you have 4 children and you both work, people come to you. And the work, we have a lot of limitations on us with Rwanda. And so depending on the day, it's a little slow at times, but we use that time to get into other programs, or we definitely have to keep up with what's going on stateside with politics and with the news and different executive orders that are coming out and the implications of those. But holistically, work-life balance, I mean, I've read 2 books since I've been there just because I had the time, and I haven't had time to read a book in a very long time.
Yeah, you mentioned kind of your daily life at the workplace. So what does a day in the life of a bilateral affairs officer look like?
So it is very important to, especially in the current climate, to know what's going on in the world, because it does have implications on us there in Rwanda, and especially in the Security Cooperation Office. And so whenever I wake up in the morning, I read through any executive orders that have come out, and then I look through the news. I look through any emails that I've gotten. Then I read the Rwandan news, get ready for work, go off to work. And I mean, as soon as I get in, stop by the cafeteria and I get breakfast, and then I'll just go sit and go through, talk with the ODC chief if there's anything that we have that we need to focus on that day. If we have an engagement with the Rwandan Defense Force, if we need to send out any invitations to them, or if we need to work with the Defense Attaché office upstairs on anything, it's really about working within the community. Under the current administration, there has been a lot of changes in the embassy, and so there's a bit of uncertainty as to what we can do right now because of the Foreign Assistance Review. But as things are kind of shaking out and we're trying to figure out what we can do, it's slowly getting to more of a steady state instead of that reactionary shutting things down and stuff like that. So right now, since I've been there, when I first got there, there's a lot of things going on the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo and M23. And so there are a lot of cables that were coming out about that. And so keeping up on what was going on there. But then it moved into more of, okay, what's going on the home front? And then we actually got Congressman Jackson came to visit. The special advisor to the president, Mr. Bolus, came to visit. We had a staff delegation that came to visit. So, it was briefing these people on what's going on in Rwanda. And Mr. Bolus, he was very focused on mining. And so we just making sure that whatever we can do from the Security Cooperation Office, from the Office of Defense Cooperation, to help the embassy as a whole, to really push forward the current administration's priorities, that's what we're there to do. And it's a very small shop, and so we really have to work together in order to make things effectively happen.
So you mentioned the ODC. What is that, and who do you report to on like a daily basis?
So the ODC is the Office of Defense Cooperation, and the person that I report to every day is Major Laura Hinton. She's Army. And then I also have an NCO in the office with me. He's PCSing out in a couple months. And then over that is the SDO-DAT. So that's the Senior Defense Official, our Senior Defense Officer, Defense Attaché. She is an 05, and she's also Army. But I do have a lot of bosses. So I have my senior rater is actually at AFRICOM, in J5 there at AFRICOM. I also coordinate a great deal with Nebraska, making sure, because I mean, that's my job. I'm supposed to be that liaison between Rwanda and Nebraska. And so I've got AFRICOM. I've got the Ambassador Needler there. I'm under his authority there as the chief of mission. So it's a very joint environment. It's very different from what I was used to necessarily here in Nebraska, but it's DOD, it's State Department, it's NGB, it's Nebraska. So I report to everybody, but on a day-to-day basis, I work with Major Hinton.
So a little bit different than the 155th Maintenance Group.
Just a little different.
Speaking of that, tell us a little bit about your background. Where'd you come from? How did you end up where you are now?
Okay, so background, I was actually enlisted for 12 years, and then here in maintenance, I originally had joined active duty 2 weeks out of high school and went to be a linguist, but I failed out of language school because I met a boy and did not study. And so 18-year-old me just instead failed out really of active duty, followed my husband around for a few years, and then oh yeah, that boy, I actually married him. We've been married almost 21 years now. So I ended up going to I was waiting tables at Texas Roadhouse, and some guy told me about the Guard, and so I went and talked to Clashad Robbins. He was my recruiter, and he helped me join the unit and join the non-destructive inspection shop. Was enlisted for 12 years and then ended up commissioning in 2017 into maintenance as a maintenance officer. Worked as the full-time technician in maintenance for 5 years. And then I really knew that this was something that I wanted to do, but I also wanted to be closer to home because I live in Bellevue. And so I was applying for positions up at Stratcom. I got a full-time position at Stratcom, so I transitioned over to DSG again. In maintenance while I was working in the J4, and then eventually moved up into a J87 at Stratcom on the full-time side. And then applied for the BAO and was fortunate enough to get picked up.
That's awesome. And I assume you had some kids along the way. I think you mentioned that. So how many do you have, and what is their life like in Rwanda?
So I do. Just a few kids. I have 4. Their ages range from 5 all the way up to 12. And their lives are amazing. Actually, whenever I was coming back for this trip home, my youngest, Matthew, was saying, Mom, why are you going back to Nebraska? I don't want to go back. They just absolutely love it there. Miss Diana, their nanny, they love her. Miss Joy, they spend, if they're not at school, they're hanging out with them. Mr. Shadrach was showing them how to mow the grass. So it's just a really cool environment. They're also able to play outside every day because the weather's amazing. And they're able to see and do things that they can't necessarily do here. And it's just different. And so they've really enjoyed it. I mean, there have been some hiccups along the way. My son does not like some of the food. And so, when you go, you get a consumable shipment. So we were fortunate enough that we had sent a bunch of American food, and also the embassy used to just have a diplomatic pouch, but now there's a DPO. So we're able to order stuff from Amazon. So every week we go to the mailroom and we've got just giant packages of food just to make sure that our kids are happy with some of those creature comforts from home. But otherwise, like they absolutely love it there because they get to spend more time with us. At home, my husband and I are so busy all the time, and the kids are so busy with school and activities and things like that we didn't have all of the family time that we have now. And we're really able to connect and just slow down a little bit and enjoy each other.
That's awesome to hear. So I guess that leads right into my last question I have, which is, what have been some of the highlights on both the work side and the personal side?
I'm going to start with personal side first. Highlight from the personal side has been spending that time with my kids, but also being able to explore things that they would not have been able to do. So, I mean, just taking them shopping downtown, it's an adventure. It's so different. If you want to make a specific thing, you're going to have to go to multiple shops to find what you're looking for ingredients. But it's so cool to be able to go downtown and you haggle for prices and just interacting with the local population and being able to just have those cultural exchanges. For instance, like I went kitenge shopping, so fabric shopping, and you go in this huge area, and I mean, it's very compact, but it's large in the grand scheme of things. And there's kitenge just lining the walls, and you go through and they're showing you all these different ones, and you pick it out. Well, then I brought it home, and then Mr. Sam is someone there are multiple people, but we have Mr. Sam. He came to the house. I showed him the kitenge I have. He measured me real quick, and then the next day he brought me a dress. I just shown him a picture and he just brought me this dress that I ended up being able to wear to my son's band concert. And so it's cool things like that. And then he made a matching dress for my daughter. And then my son was like, well, I want something too. And so Sam was like, okay, buddy. And so he just measured him. So now we have like this whole family matching outfit of this outlandish, bright kitenge fabric that is just beautiful. And it's just those fun things to watch the kids light up and interact with everyone. And they're just so comfortable in the environment. And so that really, from a personal perspective, has been one of the best highlights for me. From a professional perspective, unfortunately, we are not able to do the MedRecs this year due to funding limitations. And so whenever we were going through all of trying to like find the funding, is there anywhere that we can come up with this, $120,000 just to make the MedRecs happen? I was very fortunate in that I had that time at StratCom because I was able to, I've written ghost emails for generals before, and so I was able to write an email that goes up. But in that, we sat down with the Rwandan Defense Force, the RDF. We sat down with them and we're talking through, like, hey, this might not happen, but what kinds of things are you wanting to do? And just so sitting across the table from someone from another country that's in the military, and I look at his sleeve and he's Air Force and I'm Air Force and everyone else in the room is Army. And so we connected right away because it was, hey, we've got some bad news that we're bringing you, but we have this commonality. We're both Air Force. And he was so excited. His name is Major Roberts. And he's like, oh, you're Air Force. Oh, what do you do? Well, I'm a maintenance officer. Oh, I'm in logistics. And so having just right away that connection, it was really, really cool to just do something like that and see that. And I mean, the relationship that we have with the RDF right now is awesome. And we're able to talk to them and engage with them. It's a really cool experience that I would not have had anywhere else.
That's awesome to hear, Brittany. And I guess I have one more question. Why are you in the States right now? You mentioned the MedRx was canceled, and I've seen awesome pictures, and I've heard a little bit about that. But what brings you back to Nebraska for this TDY?
First and foremost is trying to plan out the engagements for next year. We're still in a state of not exactly knowing how things are going to go, but we're going to plan for the best. And so I'm going to sit down with them, but I'm also here to find my replacement. It was very unfortunate. I was the only applicant whenever this position came open. And in my mind, that's not okay. Like this should be a competitive position. This is such an amazing opportunity. And so one of the things that I was doing while I was here, I sat down with people from the 170th and then I did a briefing here at the 155th for JFHQ and the 155th. And so trying to just get the word out to everyone, hey, this is what this is, so that when you see this position hit the streets at some point in the future, you can know what it is that you're looking at. And some of these preconceived notions that we have, which are natural to have, we can put those to rest. Is it perfect? No, it's not. But everywhere has its weird stuff with it. And so I just wanted to kind of calm some of the misconceptions and really showcase what an amazing opportunity this is for someone in the Nebraska National Guard to be able to go and do, and hopefully spark some interest in, especially in Rwanda, because it's such an amazing place, an amazing culture with amazing people. So that was really one of my big missions while I was here.
That's awesome. It's so true. I've seen the pictures. I've drank the coffee. I know a little bit about Rwanda. They've had quite the history. And it seems like it'd be an awesome experience just in talking to you over these last couple days.
Whether it's building connections online or building bridges across continents, the Nebraska National Guard continues to be a force for good at home and around the world. Now let's move on to some highlights across the Cornhusker State. Here's a quick look at our most recent accomplishments. The 155th Air Refueling Wing completed a combat readiness exercise called the CREE. designed to test our flexibility, speed, and operational resilience under simulated combat conditions. Lieutenant Colonel Dan Williams celebrated a historic Finney flight after more than 3,800 hours in the sky. A salute to a long and decorative flying career. The 155th also hosted a KC-135 orientation flight for state and federal employees, giving them a mid-air glimpse of our mission in action. Our global reach continued as we welcomed the Tanzanian People's Defense Force, who visited senior leaders and toured the 155th's facilities as we strengthened state partnerships. And at the community level, the Nebraska Military Department worked alongside the cities of Plattsmouth and North Platte to reinforce emergency response capabilities and serve the people of Nebraska. It's time to look forward to upcoming events and time to stay informed and get involved with what's coming up soon. Back to School Bash, hosted by the Child and Youth Services on July 26th. Watch for flyers and base-wide updates. Backpack and school supplies assistance will be available during the August drill for military families. Retirement Appreciation Day, August 10th. Look for flyers when posted around the base as well. And also don't forget Hot Dog Day, August 28th, hosted in the JFHQ with dogs to pet and dogs to eat. But not the same ones. No, not the same ones. Whether you're new to the base or a longtime member, these events are designed to support our Guard families and set up our kids for success. Now let's move on to some safety reminders. As the fireworks pop and grills heat up, it's a perfect time to review a few safety essentials for this coming up July. Fireworks safety: follow local laws, maintain a safe distance, and be courteous of neighbors and pets. Here's some grilling tips. Clean your grill, don't leave it unattended, and keep flammables at a distance. That'll help your grilling so much better for the summer. And since it's ice cream month, let's go ahead and celebrate responsibly and maybe take a break before round 2 to avoid that brain freeze. Last but not least, DUI prevention. Make the smart call. If you drink, don't drive. Have a plan, use a ride share, or designate a sober wingman. This remains one of our top priorities, especially during the 101 critical days of summer. What an impactful episode 7 from the virtual front lines of gaming communities to global cooperation in Rwanda. Episode 7 showcased the many forms service can take. Thank you again to our 2 guests, Unknowntehk from Regiment and Captain Truscott, and a big, huge shout out to Major Boyd for facilitating such a powerful second interview. Just a reminder, if you've got a story to tell, an event to highlight, or want to join us on the future podcast or future episode, use the link in the episode description to get in touch. Let's keep showcasing the heart, pride, and excellence of the Nebraska National Guard. So until next time, take care, stay safe, stay connected, and keep fueling the mission. This is the Phantom Fuel Podcast, and we'll see you next month.